Candace and I actually spoke about this at length this past summer on one of our Front Stage episodes, right after Chrissy Teigen came out and was talking about her most recent baby that she had via surrogacy. It was an amazing scientific advancement for women who really need it. But there is a growing industry that has nothing to do with women who are struggling with infertility and has shifted into a much different and darker realm.
Yes, capitalism, which conservatives hate. Wait a minute. The Daily Wire, Brett Cooper, the ones are like textbook conservatives. Everything that fills that description box is a must. Anything against it, and you're liberal, hates capitalism because they're profiting off women because of their embryos. Oh, wait a minute. Men want babies too? Oh, wait a minute. That's anti-conservative.
Today, we're looking at probably the worst and most toxic example of somebody benefiting from surrogacy. We're actually working on a broader episode just about that, but as a baseline, like I said in the intro, surrogacy was and is an incredible medical advancement, but there is a portion of the industry that has become this commercialization.
Yes, commercialization of anything to do with profit, as in capitalism. Yeah, you gotta feed your babies.
Childbearing, and that is what I take issue with. Where wealthy couples can just rent wombs from women who need the money, where children are literally ripped away from their mothers the second that they're...
Okay, first of all, it's not ripped away from their mothers the second that they're born. They have to come out of the mother, unless they have a C-section. That's a different story. Anyways, you paid for the baby and someone to birth the baby. So legally, it's theirs under the law. That's how surrogacy works. You paid for the baby. You paid to someone to have the baby, care of it in the womb, and then once it's born, it's really yours. It may not be fair, but it's part of conservatism and capitalism.
That is what I have a problem. Start by looking at their posts surrounding the birth. She was rented, paid for, and then removed, posing like tired, distressed mothers that just went through labor, like it's some sort of...
Are you sure it's not a joke? Because I know conservatives are against that. Well, the Daily Wire is.
Costume that they can just put on and play pretend.
Oh, isn't it funny, like the Aboriginal people complain about that and black people, and the Daily Wire's like, hey, forget about it. Who cares if they're using your culture as a costume? But when it's women, something that Brett Cooper is, it's a problem. For the Daily Wire? Wait a minute, but Brett, you're a woman. You're not supposed to be on the Daily Wire. The Daily Wire is about being manly and masculine, because that's what it means to have a job. Only men have jobs. Only men provide for the family. Women are supposed to be seen and not heard in the kitchen making food. As you support modern day feminism is a scam, and the past was right in the 1950s. That's where like women decided maybe we should work. Yeah, staying at home is kind of boring, and taking care of a family, is that the only thing you look forward to in life? Yes, Brett Cooper says, but wait, she's on the Daily Wire making videos, profiting, and being manly. Because apparently having a job, profiting, being heard, being seen, talking, making points, it's all a manly thing. Even though that's not part of conservatism. Well, it hasn't been for a long time.
And if you're wondering where the mother is in all of this, she's gone. She was rented, paid for, and then removed from the scenario. So although there's a woman...
Yes, she was rented and paid for. No, well, they paid for her to have the baby in her womb, and then she was compensated for that. Now, is it fair? Well, it doesn't really matter. Are there laws against it? Maybe, maybe not, but surrogacy is fine under that justification. Because it's profit, and the Western society is a capitalistic society.
Who carried these children and whose DNA is permanently part of those children, she is now...
You know the dude can also have his DNA in the children, right? You get one set of DNA from your mother and one set of DNA from your father. That's how babies work. Do I have to explain that, Brett Cooper? You're in your 20s. And I don't think it's allowed on YouTube.
Now removed from their lives at the exact time when they biologically need their mothers.
Do they need their biological mothers the most? Can they have a surrogate mother? Yeah. Is there other medical advances that allow a baby to live without their mother after birth? Yes. Do you need a mother? No. Is it preferred? Yes. But do you need it? No. It's not like humans. They need oxygen to live. Does it matter if it's 100% pollutant free? No, that's just an extra.
Most. And Wokeness posted and said Shane Dawson and his husband bought baby boys and posed in the hospital pretending to be...
I'm pretty sure that's a joke. And besides this Shane Dawson thing, if it was another dude, would it matter? If you can have a kid through surrogacy, otherwise you wouldn't be able to have it, won't it be fine? Well, they did turn over Wade versus Roe, or was it Roe versus Wade, where women can't have abortions now, but this is where you draw the line. Yeah, let's stop women from having rights about what happens in their womb. But if someone wants to take that baby from the womb, that isn't the mother. That is so wrong. Wait a minute, Daily Wire was against abortion. So why are you mad?
Mother. Literally in the hospital bed. What are you doing? Like, why on earth are you laying in the hospital bed? You did not carry this child.
It's funny, though. Do I have to really say that again and again?
Never gave birth. Why are you exhausted? Are you exhausted because you...
Well, giving birth isn't the only thing that can exhaust people. Working, thinking, exercise, those can exhaust people too and make them tired. Or waiting for your baby to be born. Let's say you went in labor last night and now it's 3 a.m. in the morning, and last night it was 8 p.m. You're probably tired. You've probably been awake the whole day. You probably had other things to do that day. Exhaustion is not just for women that gave birth.
held a baby for 3 hours? It is seriously just not natural. Unlike balance of nature. Living...
Unnatural, like a woman having a job. Oh, by the way, I don't hate women. It's just fun to clown on these Daily Wire guys and gals because of how they are. They want to go back to the 1920s. Oh, when did women get rights? Before that time. Yet they have women working for them.
With respect, which is exactly what Shane and Wyland were not doing to women, because all of this was completely disrespectful to mothers on so many levels.
Was it disrespectful? If you want a child and then someone's going to help you do it, is that really disrespectful? Or is it disrespectful because they paid for it, which is also legally allowed, and laws and such and society is based on social constructs, as in we got together and decided what was right or wrong, and we're allowed to have different opinions, and if it's legally allowed, it's legally allowed apparently. But take that with a grain of salt.
We literally see this every single time a celebrity gives birth via surrogacy. They pose in the bed. I think Kourtney Kardashian. Oh, here I am. I'm in the bed. You literally did nothing. Get up. Anyway, I digress.
Well, maybe it's symbolic. I'm pretty sure poetry is part of arithmetic and writing, which is a staple of conservatism. No arts.
Because it gets much, much worse. Now, surrogacy itself isn't even the reason why the specific story is not sitting well with people. It's not sitting well. Now, first of all, none of this is natural.
Yes, it's not natural to give away a baby. Like adoption. You give away a baby, you're young, you can't have it, and someone adopts it. But adoption is really hard to get a baby. You gotta go jump through hoops and hoops to get even considered to adopting a baby. But if you want to have your own baby, that's all fine, even though you're like a menace to society. And if you want to pay for it, that's fine too. That's a different question. That's more of a liberal matter, as in more laws restricting this, less conservative.
Or biological, but it's also borderline scary that anyone who writes a fat check...
Well, welcome to history. Fat checks run the world. It isn't in America where you can legally marry a child if you're a rich person. If you're a rich dude and you want to have a child as a wife, you can in certain states, maybe all states. It depends if the judge agrees, because the parents have to sign consent for the child to be married, and in this case, the daughter. And if she wants to get, the parents want to marry the daughter off to a rich billionaire because they're poor and homeless, and then the rich dudes ruin their life, and they can't do anything because of the money and the power issue. And legally, there's no age of consent if you're married in America. Remember that.
Do this without much thought, especially when the process for adoption is arduous and heartbreakingly complicated for...
Yes, adoption is hard. That's why they do this. You want your own kid? Go ahead. You can be a menace. Have it. You want to pay someone to have your kid? That's fine. Is this legally allowed? Yes. Is it a gray area? Yes. Is this more of a liberal matter? Yes. So why is the Daily Wire covering it?
Families who want to save a child and solve a problem.
The thing about saving a child is, how much effort can you put into saving a child? What if they're a death row inmate style child? You really want to spend your time doing that? Is it worthwhile? And there's another thing. Aren't conservatives against divorce? As in, you should be only raising your own blood. And if you adopt, it's not your own blood. But with surrogacy, well, you can either put your sperm if you're the dude, or your egg if you're the woman, and have the child be yours biologically. So they'll carry your heritage biologically and not someone else's, and just yours metaphorically and through time. because you took care of them.
Rather than create one through surrogacy. But if you have loads of money, like Chrissy Teigen and the Kardashians and Shane and Ryland, you can just rent a womb and buy a baby. How convenient! You can say,
Yes, it's renting a womb. Yeah, here's $50. I'm just gonna rent your room. But you know, there's rules and stuff to it that you can and cannot do, and people are willing to do it. So you want to infringe on their rights to do it as a conservative?
save your body, you can get the baby accessory that everybody wants. But if a family...
Yeah, you know, not everyone can get a spouse and sleep with them and have a child naturally. So there's other ways now, and the government supported that and allowed it. And you want to go back to the 1500s.
wants to adopt and save a child, there is an intense vetting process that the couple has to undergo, rightfully so, even though that process probably should be overhauled. Now, my first question obviously was, does that exist for the surrogate couple that is intending to...
No, it's called the loophole.
...parent this child that they are bringing into the world? Well, when it comes to the couple getting the babies, the vetting process is not clearly...
Well, there doesn't have to be a vetting process. If you do it by yourself, or you can go through an agency, which might be more difficult. But you don't need an agency to do this. Technically, you can go up to random strangers, hey, you want to have my baby? Just keep it in your womb for 9 months, and then I get it at the end. And that's the end of it, and you get some money.
...defined at all. It seems like there really is an ample vetting process to pick the perfect surrogate, the woman who's going to carry the child in her womb, and the perfect egg donor, because a lot of the time, it's not the same woman.
Yeah, when you want your child and you have money, you can go through wide various things and selection process to get the best genetics ever. Well, not including your half. To get the other better half with your money, because your half is limited by you, and you can't really change that yet.
Like, I remember being in college and seeing egg donation want ads all over campus and on social media.
Yes, because people want to have kids, especially the red pill manosphere guys, even though they don't want to take care of them at all. Yeah, people want families. They not may want to get married, but they still might want to have kids, may want to raise people. And there should be other options to get that, shouldn't it? Oh, wait a minute, you're conservative. This is a liberal argument. Liberal ideas. Again, why is the Daily Wire covering this? Why are they so against capitalism? Why are they so anti-conservative? And why is a girl named Brett Cooper, who's very masculine, fighting for femininity and women's rights when she acts more of a man according to her ideals and ideologies and that of the organization that she works for?